Ciao, Jan.
Ciao Ilpo. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So,
maybe a short introductions, while we are waiting for the others.
Of course.
Not sure if we met earlier. Probably we did during the time that I was working with Ekaha, but I'm Ilpo. I'm the sales guy here at Hamina.
Ah, okay. You also come from the company. Ciao Dario.
Ciao, mi sentite?
Sì. Ciao Dario. No, Ilpo, I don't think we met in person. How you see? How are you?
Hello. How are you, Jan? Good to see
Really
you.
fine. Oh, please, first of all, please tell me you are in Europe.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's
I am
fine.
actually at
No,
the summer house here, somewhere in eastern Finland.
That's wonderful. Because I was afraid you were connecting in the middle of the night from some time zone in Arizona or in the States, and that would be terrible. Great.
No, this is all good. Thank you so much for having us, Jan. Much appreciated.
No, thank you to you. For you, really, it's a strange time. It's a vacation for everybody. Summer. Those of us who are in the office, are really. We try to make the most of it. So I really appreciate you, and I really envy you actually that you're in the summer house enjoying your time. You see. Yes. So brief introduction while people connect here. So WLANitalia.it is a small wireless LAN professional community in Italy. We are about 40 people, and during normal times we held regular meetings online on Fridays at 11, so to chat and discuss and present technologies and scratch our source and cry together because of all the issues, the Wi-Fi. We learn from each other. We take turns in making presentations and etc. And we record and put online. So we are just a few people right now today. Most of people are on vacation, but I wanted to make sure that we got an opportunity to discuss about Hamina, because I've seen a couple of presentations. I've seen a couple of videos, and there are a few things that are really, really interesting. So wireless design is a really big thing for all of us, and we'd like to learn something more about. Presenting Jussi Kiviniemi to my Italian colleagues. He is the founder, and you are the CEO or whatever. Okay, of Hamina Wireless, which was founded 1 year ago, more or less. And Ilpo is a colleague that, and I am sure we met and crossed in Twitter, and with Ilpo, sometime. And if you want to make a short introduction, Dario, Alessandro, or Marco, or whatever. Volete fare una piccola presentazione intanto che magari aspettiamo 2 minuti che si colleghino?
Hello, ciao a tutti. My name is Alessandro, and I work for the National Research Council of Italy in the area of Pisa. It is one of the most crowded area of the National Research Council in Italy. We have I'm involved in the network management and also in the wireless access for the user here, and I appreciate this meeting, even if we are at the end of the not at the end, at the beginning of the holidays period. So thank you so much for Jan for organizing this.
Ciao, Alessandro.
Yeah, I can continue. So I'm Dario Pilori. I work at INRIM, which is a small research institute located in Turin, in the northern part of Italy. I manage all the networking, so not only wireless, but I work in the IT department, where we are a small institute. So actually we're doing many things. And among those, I also do wireless. We are managing a kind of large campus, but fortunately it's not very crowded. So I'm managing more or less 100 access point wireless networks. But yeah, so I guess that's everything from my side.
Lieto di conoscerti.
That's great.
I think it's my turn. So my name is Alessandro Macuse, and I work in many fields of the networking, wireless as well. I work on some project. It's not my main focus at the moment, but I do like the topic, and since it's quite, let's say, difficult, I like to make aware people know that has to be treated in a very multifaceted approach, and it's not as simple as people may think. So at the moment, I'm sort of I would like to define myself somebody who would like to make aware people what wireless in reality is, no? So they can have the correct approach to it.
Buongiorno, Alessandro.
Hello, buongiorno.
And was that, I think that was everybody, right? Ilpo, you want to say a few words about yourself as well? Or did you already? I joined late, I apologize.
I definitely would like, thank you. So thank you so much for having us here. I am Ilpo Mäkinen. I am the sales guy at Hamina. I've been in networking industry for 20 years, more or less, working for really nice companies, vendors mostly, but also on the systems integrator side. I've been at Cisco twice. I actually founded Aruba Networks up here in the north back in the day. And most recently, I was heading the sales of Juniper Mist up here in the north. And pleasure to meet you, all of you, and thank you so much for having us here.
Oh, thank you to you, really.
Excellent. And yeah, I'm Jussi. I'm founder and CEO of Hamina. Before that, I was a couple of years at Juniper Mist together with Ilpo. And before that, I was some 15 plus years at Ekahau. And so, Jan, I saw you are also recording this, but just as a heads up, we can easily also do another session when people are back from summer vacations. If you want like an update for you guys, and then, you know, a fresh take for those that are on summer vacation. If you run out of topics at some point, we are happy to come back whenever you would like.
Great. That's okay. I hope it's okay that we record this. We will have this viewed by our colleagues asynchronously, and I'm sure that in autumn we can do a recap and another talk that would be really nice, as I know that you have a lot of big surprises and new things coming up.
Absolutely.
Well, just to make to finish the presentation, it's not very public on my Twitter profile, but I work in the University of Milan in Italy, and I manage all the wireless operations of our campus, which is one of the biggest wireless installation in the education field in Italy.
Wow, that's quite a network right there. And I'm assuming you do like between the four of you, you do different networking brands. Cisco is really strong in Italy. I think Aruba is pretty strong, right? And then I'm assuming it's similar to elsewhere, where there's a little bit of Extreme and a little bit of Ruckus and things like that. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we are an Extreme Wireless, Extreme Networks shop, actually.
Okay, very good. So you may also been talking with Dave Coleman and those guys at Extreme.
Yes, I wish I would be talking with Dave.
If you're not, let's definitely change that and make an introduction. And
that would be great. That would be great. Actually, I was looking forward to going to WP Wireless LAN Pros conference in Prague, but I'm actually looking forward for sponsors. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. So you know, I don't know if vendors sponsor these kind of conferences, but who knows? Maybe you can ask the Extreme guys what it's about.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Excellent. And everybody's an engineer here, right? So we could do a like semi-technical demo of the product. I guess that gives us the best understanding of the product, or would that be okay for everybody? All right,
Yeah,
we're getting some thumbs up. That sounds good. And before we jump into the product, maybe just real quickly about Hamina Wireless. We are about wireless design, not just Wi-Fi, but already today we also do private 4G, private 5G. Now those networks are like CBRS is a pretty big thing in United States, which essentially means just a certain band, like on 3.5 gigahertz base, that's reserved for private cellular networks. It has this kind of 3-tiered licensing model. But also we've seen, I believe also in Italy, but all around Europe, we're also seeing airports and harbors and factories, things like that, adopting private cellular networks as well as Wi-Fi. Now, it's definitely not going to take over Wi-Fi. It's definitely not anytime soon, at least, probably never. But for some use cases that may be seen like security conscious or latency sensitive, or you need an absolutely guaranteed interference-free band or delivery of packets guaranteed, for those kind of use cases where you actually have control also over the end user devices, private cellular networks may be, you know, something to consider for some users. So we thought, you know, as we support Wi-Fi, we might as well support a wealth of other technologies as well. So our system, the whole design theme revolves around kind of wireless technology neutrality. We focus on Wi-Fi, but we already do private 4G, 5G, and we will be doing like pretty much anything you can throw at an enterprise in terms of wireless technologies. We will be supporting those. And the first product we've been building is a network planner, which runs on a browser. And then we will be coming out with site survey or these like validation measurement tools as well. So it will be an app that runs on your phone or your laptop, and measurement hardware, as well as we will be able to collect measurement data from your existing hardware as well that you may already have or that you may already buy. So we have this kind of open approach to measurement, because, for example, we will not be making our own 4G, 5G measurement hardware. We will only be making it for Wi-Fi. So we have partnered up with several different 4G, 5G hardware measurement houses to bridge that gap. And same with Wi-Fi. So if you want to measure also using like an actual device, you know, that you may be using in the field, that will be possible with our measurement tool. But today we'll be looking at the browser-based planner, if that's okay, and we can then do another round when we are more ready with the site survey stuff. We can look at that later on as well, if that's okay. Does
Great.
that sounds fair?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So let me just share my screen, and maybe we can actually work so that I will create a project from scratch, and or even a couple of projects from scratch. And anytime you have any questions, feel free to ask, please, because that's how this probably works best. Feel free to interrupt me at any point. Feel free to ask at any point. Okay, so I'm assuming you can see my screen, and I will start with tabula rasa or a new project, and we can go from there. We could start with a warehouse, and then because warehouse, you know, you get a lot of different things that we can show, and then we could also take a look at more like a corporate, you know, more typical and indoor environment, so that it represents more what you guys do. But let's just jump first into the difficult end and make a simple warehouse plan, and then we'll go from there. So browser-based tool it's easy to share projects with other people, for example, for your colleagues. And then you can also, if you only want to share in a way read only, you can create reports as well that, you know, that can be either web browser accessible dynamic reports, or they can be Word or PDF documents as well.
So to be clear, you don't have to install any software. You just open a browser and go to hamina.com, whatever, and log in and then start working online.
Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, if you go to this URL, you can do that even now. We are in kind of a closed invite-only beta, but if you know where to go, you can actually go here and get your access to the tool. However, it will have very limited functionality until there will be a button here called Upgrade Now. So if you click Upgrade Now, you just pay 390 euros for the 6-month use of the Wi-Fi planner product, since I'm assuming you may not need 4G and 5G. So 390 euros gives you 6 months full access to the full tool per user. So it's not very expensive. The thinking is, whenever you have even just one project for wireless, you should be able to get your hands on the product. And that's why we priced the planner so low as 390, so that, you know, anyone who gets that you know, let's say Jan needs to do another building, like a redesign for a building or something like that. You call your boss and say, hey, I have this, you know, 50 or 100 access point project. Could I spend 390 to make a decent plan for it? And then the boss probably says, yeah, go for it. It's a big project. End of discussion. There you go. That's the idea. And as you start working on the project, it may be that first you will write down some customer, you know, meeting notes or things like that here. So we have this Apple Notes type of a thing where you can do, you know, bold, underline, bullet points, things like that. You can drop in images, just so that, you know, when the wireless project starts, it may not start with the floor plans. It may actually start with a discussion with the customer, and these notes,
of course,
also yeah, exactly. And these notes travel with the project. So let's say a junior engineer starts talking with a customer, or the sales guy starts talking with a customer, whoever, they can already start writing down the notes, and they don't need to pay for the note-taking capabilities. They don't need to pay for the, you know, putting in floor plans and things like that. They can use the free product. And then when somebody starts the actual design, that's when they pay. But maybe you would get the floor plans from the customer, which you can then I'm just going to drag and drop a warehouse plan into the tool. And bear with me, I'm using a test version of the product. So if things go south, we may need to go to the actual production version. But what happens here is I just upload, drag and drop, upload a floor plan, or and the floor plan can be PDF or CAD file or JPEG or PNG or WebP or whatever.
What is this? PDF?
This is a low resolution PNG, I believe. Sorry, this is a JPEG.
Right.
I will show you a PDF later as well. From PDF and CAD files, we can extract the walls automatically. From JPEGs, we do not, and it wouldn't make sense anyway, because there's like thick shelves and things like that here. But this gets us to show the manual, you know, manual definition of walls and things like that. We have the wall drawing tool here. We have the scale tool. So let's put the scale in first. And if I happen to know, don't try this at home. I'm just going to put 1 meter as the doorway, because this is a terrible plan. And then I can choose the wall materials and start working on it. And the wall materials all can be modified, you know, height of the walls, attenuation of the walls, things like that. It all can be fully modified there. And if let's say there's some different materials here, if we say, you know, there's concrete until here, and then this is solid wood, and then this is concrete, I can switch between the materials super quickly just by clicking these keyboard shortcuts here, which can be defined. So for example, I press S for solid wood. I press C for concrete, S for solid wood. So this allows like super quick definition of the wall materials. And also, as you can see, this actually grabs to different angles. It makes perfect 90-degree turns. Even finishing up here ends up a 90, a beautiful 90-degree turn. Let's say I draw this line first here with drywall. I just hit D to start drawing drywall. I draw a line here, and I want to continue here at the exact same place. You can see that there's actually an assistant here that gives you like, okay, your previous wall was there, so it creates a beautiful, like absolutely 90-degree angles, and makes this like super efficient, like makes them look clean, but also makes the drawing super fast. So I claim that there isn't a faster wall drawing tool or a more efficient wall drawing tool out in the market than this one. I'm just going to do a terrible job at this right now, but you get the point, right? So we have some walls defined, and maybe we'll put some here as well to the lounge. And again, even though you can see how it grabbed here automatically and helped me connect here beautifully. So okay, that's done. Then we want to draw some of the shelves, which are thicker than the walls. So I'm gonna, instead of drawing walls, I'm gonna do attenuating objects. And let's say we have two heights of shelves here. We have these about 8-meter warehouse shelves, but let's say we also have 4-meter warehouse shelves. So I'm gonna duplicate this material as shelf warehouse 4 meters. I'm gonna give it a shortcut, and then I'm gonna give it a 4-meter height instead. Maybe a different color too. All right, now we have two shelves here that we can use, and I'm gonna do the 7.6 meter shelves here, and again you can see how it snaps beautifully to the previously drawn shelves, so it makes them very nice. If I want to zoom in, this is at 50 frames per second all the time, although it doesn't show online, but it's very, very smooth to do all this, drawing, zooming, panning. And then I'm gonna press R to go for the 4-meter shelves and draw a little bit of those as well. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Okay. And then here, a couple of shelves. And then maybe these guys are 4 meters roughly as well. And then I'm going to do the trucks. I'm going to press T to draw the trucks, because we have a requirement, let's say, for outdoor coverage too. So I'm going to do these trucks here to make sure that they don't block too much signal as we do the outdoor planning. All right. And maybe even the cars, if we so desire. Not that they would block that much, because they are not that.
You have 4-meter cars in Finland.
Was it 4 meters? Oh, this is. But remember, car is only 1.4 meters.
Great.
The truck was 3 meters.
Okay.
These are not station wagon Volvos. These are normal cars. All right, here we go. So that's that. And now we have modeled this to a pretty decent degree. So I'm gonna just hide the attenuating objects as well, and then I think we're ready to start placing some APs. And since Jan works with extreme APs, maybe we could first start with the offices and place some 6 GHz capable AP 4000s there.
The 4000, yeah.
The latest and greatest, unless you have the 5000, of course. We're going to look at 6 GHz coverage for Wi-Fi. There we go. And of course, you can see how the walls attenuate the signal and stuff like that. And of course, the shelves here attenuate it even more. Let's put one in the middle of the office, then another one in the lounge office. There we go. But of course, we will need something for the actual warehouse space and outdoor areas too. So how about we use, I'm not an expert in extreme APs, but 360E sounds like it has an external antenna.
Yeah.
And then we're going to put it to, I don't know, 15 meters height or something, because we can only mount these, let's say, in the ceiling in the warehouse. So we're going to put one here in the middle of the shelves, and then we're going to point the antenna. But then we see nothing from this AP. Why is that? Because we're looking at 6 gigahertz coverage. So let's look at 5 gig instead, and we can see how this AP shoots, down the hallway here. Let's make a bit more illustrative example and move this AP to the corner here where we don't have so many shelves.
But don't we have to add an external antenna to this one? I mean,
it actually defaulted.
Okay,
to one
you have
of
the Axel.
antennas.
Great.
Exactly. Great. So see, when I chose the external antenna AP, it actually gives you the options immediately. If I use an internal antenna AP, it does not ask at all because you cannot use external antennas. And now we can see that since it's at 10 meters height, it actually flies the signals. If it's placed like sideways, the signals fly way too high. The signal is great in the ceiling, but it's not great in the floor level. So let's give it some down tilt, like 35-degree down tilt, so that we actually get a signal right below the AP. There we go. Now we can see, sure, the shelves, because they are 4 meters high, remember, they block a little bit right behind the shelves. But then again, after the shelves, it starts to look good. And visualizing coverage for a single AP is pretty easy. You just click on the AP and you can see the coverage for that AP. If we want to see the coverage for 2 APs, hold down Shift, and there we have coverage for 2 APs. If we want to see the coverage for all APs, click anywhere to deselect. And now we're looking at the coverage for all of the APs, all right? And then if we want to... Yes, sir.
Sorry. Alessandro speaking. I see that the access points are positioned at 15 meters, or that one, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
15 meters, that means like three floors away, upwards. Okay.
Yeah, I was like thinking this is a very high ceiling warehouse.
Okay.
So
okay.
that's why I placed it at 15 meters.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Of course. And we can put it lower as well, of course. Let's put it to 9 meters. There we go. And then we could reduce the down tilt a little bit. You can see the down tilt arrow here, so it shows which direction it's shooting at any given point. Let's place another access point of the same kind, maybe here. And we can see, yeah, the shelves actually block it quite a lot. But if we zoom in, we can see that, the signals go between the shelves quite nicely. And as you can see, it recalculates the signal. So even if we zoom in heavily, it still shows crisp and clear heat maps. So let's put one AP there, one AP again there. There we go. And point it that direction.
So it remembers the configuration of the last IP you placed. 20 degrees correct. Down tilt, etc.
Exactly correct. So now we're starting to see, okay, that's actually looking pretty good. All right. And of course, we can reconfigure any of the APs. We can move any of the APs anywhere. It gives you immediate, like, rough estimation of the coverage. And then if we want to see all of them, that's how you do it. And then if we want to place one outside, maybe on a pole at 25 meters or something, we have a light pole here or something, we could put one there to ensure outdoor coverage. Maybe we want to tilt that down a little bit more since it's so high. There we go. Maybe even more down tilt. Now it covers the yard beautifully. Shoots to this direction, gives a 60-degree down tilt. Right behind the trucks, of course, there's a little bit of shadow, but it's not that bad. We can see behind the cars, there's just a little bit of shadow, but that doesn't mean anything because the cars are so low anyway. So now it's starting to look good. And then if we agreed with the customer that, only the left-hand side yard needs to be covered, but the other areas not, to get rid of some of the, unnecessary heat map, we could actually say, okay, together with the customer, we agreed that the scope of the project is this, so we can draw some kind of polygon here and say we are only interested in this area. So now that's what we're calculating only. It excludes all of the rest. And in terms of requirements, we can also adjust for all of the heat maps, all of that. We can define limits, like what does green mean? What does yellow mean?
Great.
And
this was my next question.
And if you want to, rename these, that's definitely there now as well. And if somebody is reading the report, they can also see your customizations for the values. And wherever you move the mouse, you can see here also the exact value of the signal. And then to finish things off, we could look at how is the client device, let's say an Android phone, going to behave in this network. You just associate the client, let's say, the boss starts his laptop in the office or his Android phone. Oh, and we have a walrus. Let's put a person there. So we have a person, and then we can pretend that we are the CEO on his phone or on his MacBook or whichever. And how will his connection work throughout the office? We can see the signal, we can see where he's connected to. We can see that, oh, he's actually quite a bit connected to 2.4. We may not want that to be the case. So what do? We could just say for all the APs, let's reduce the 2.4 transmit power a little bit, for example. The problem especially seemed to be with the out or with these guys here, so meaning the high placed APs. So let's drop the 2.4 TX power down a little bit and increase the 5 GHz power a little bit. And this happened only for the selected APs, which were the indoor directional antenna APs. And now let's look at it again. Now the client is actually associated to 5 GHz, which is exactly what we want. We want as little traffic on the 2.4 GHz as possible. And of course, we could just disable 2.4 altogether if we wanted.
Can I hide the heat maps?
Yes, absolutely. Let's get rid of the heat maps.
Okay, that's fine. Great.
And now what we can show as a heat map, if we want to analyze the roaming, is show the area where the client will stay associated to this AP here. So it's associated to this AP, and if we actually drag the AP somewhere else, like now it's associated to this AP, how long will it stay associated to this guy until it roams again? So if we go here, we can see now it roamed to this AP, and it will stay roamed to this AP unless the user again walks to a white area. Like, let's say he enters this room, and now he associates to the AP, obviously in the room. So this is a tool for designing for good roaming, but also a tool to understand how the network will actually work and explain your customers. Explain the boss who pays for the network, like how is the network gonna work? Well, here's how it's gonna work. This is you walking around the network, blah, blah, blah. All right. And then if we want to also design for switching, things like that, we put a 24-port switch or even a networking closet like IDF, MDF. But let's say we put a 300-watt 24-port switch here in the janitorial area. The tool automatically pulls the cables to the APs and gives a little bit of slack based on the height of the AP and stuff like that. And then we can see how many ports will be consumed, how much power will be consumed based on the actual PoE consumption of all of these APs. So for example, if we change all of the APs to AP4000s, it will take more PoE power. And then we can see for the switch, for the site, like all the switches on the site, all the APs, the cable lengths, the power consumption. As we can see, the 4000s consume more power than the 360Es, for example, how much cable you will roughly need, all of this stuff.
Is it possible to control the cable path? For example, I know there's a conduit and it's actually a different path than the one that is depicted here.
That will be possible in the future. Everybody asks for that as well. So absolutely, we will make it.
Because, you know, I could really propose this to a colleague of mine who does cabling and nothing else.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's something interesting.
Absolutely, and we should probably talk with your colleague and ask like what would be needed for this tool for this to be usable. So you know, maybe we could have a conversation with him as well.
Okay.
Because the reason we haven't made it very configurable yet is we don't know much about like the cable guys and how what kind of tools they use today, and you know, maybe they prefer their existing tools and things like that. But at least this works for like calculating the power budget and the port budget and rough you know, amount of cabling and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then if you want to put in, you know, you have a requirement of putting security cameras that also connect to the switch into the office as well. We can definitely put those as well. Or if you have something else like, I don't know, PoE powered speakers or environmental sensors or desk phones. Certainly one desk phone here in the lounge, one desk phone here and here. Then all of that will be shown also on the switch side of things, and it will be shown here on the breakdown of switching and power details. And if you want to put in more switches, no problem. Maybe you want a switch also in here. It will reroute. And then all of this will also be shown on the bill of materials. So with a click of a button, you can get a rundown view of everything that needs to be ordered. And this is configurable too. So, you know, all of this is highly configurable. So you can use this as, you know, a proposal for the customer what to order, or proposal for the boss, like this is the gear that I will need. Maybe this is the price that you know that needs to be
This is
paid.
really interesting. And can I export this in some format?
Yes, this will be exportable in Word sorry, in PDF and CSV and stuff like that. So you can copy paste this actually into your Excel if you want to make further edits, and this will be also PDF and Word exportable as well.
Great.
So this includes everything, even the cables and you know, switches, Wi-Fi, APs. If you use directional antennas, it's all there.
Well, a comment about the cabling, bill of material, etc. This gives us at least a rough estimate of the cable length. I mean, it might not be 183 meters exact, but it's going to be really something more like that. And another very interesting thing is power budget for all PoE devices. For example, we have a lot of VoIP phones on our desks, and they draw something. So usually it's not a problem, but depending on the network equipment you have to take care of the budget you allocate.
I totally agree, and especially with 6E, Wi-Fi 6E access points, you know, those tend to draw quite a bit of power, and especially, let's say, if we start putting in things like Cisco 9136s with all features enabled, you know, once you connect a few of these to your switch, you can see that, oh, that's actually running out of power now.
Wow.
And same thing, if you put the switch like the AP too far away, it will show, oh, that's actually too long of a cable. We have an 80-meter safety margin here. So these kind of things automatically will be flagged as potential problems. So that's and then if you want to start up a new, like push this configuration into your Extreme system, you can just hit Export Project, take Extreme Networks. Let's see if I have an Extreme credentials here. And it will automatically grab the information from my Extreme Cloud IQ system, the organization, the locations. We can see Dave Coleman's Mexico Ranch. I have pushed previously here. And you can create directly in Hamina, you can create new locations to your Extreme system. You can create new buildings to your existing location, give them addresses, stuff like that. And you can export this directly. So it fires up a new site directly in your Extreme system. It takes the access points out of the inventory, puts them on the site. It uploads the maps, places the access points on the maps automatically and stuff like that. With a click of a button from Hamina, you don't need to do anything in the Extreme system. So that's
this is interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, we're trying to make the workflow as easy as possible for you guys with these export and import capabilities directly built into the tool. And that's the power of natively cloud built tools, right? So that's an example warehouse plan for you. In the interest of time, I'll just create a quick university plan as well, if you don't mind. So this would resemble more like a typical office or in typical indoor environment. So I'm just going to drop in, and some of you may have seen this in a demo too, and there's like you can Google and find, of course, PDF floor plans or try your own. But so what happens here is I'm dropping in a, I think, 3-page PDF, 1 page per floor. And it says first floor plan is ready. And you can see on the background, it here loads the rest of the floor plan. So we can already start working. And same, like it does a lot of things on the background. For example, the heat maps are calculated in the background. So you can continue working even if you have a big project and the heat maps are calculating. You can still continue working, no problem. And this map is terrible because it has the, green and gray colors. So we can just say, let's adjust the map and get rid of the green color from the map automatically. So don't need to open this in Photoshop or ask for a cleaner map or stuff like that. We have automatically scanned the primary colors of the map, and we can get rid of the colors like this gray color with a click of a button. It processes the drawing and then gets rid of the green and gets rid of the gray color. So this is now more ready to start working against. And then what we do is we just put in the scale, and this is in feet. I know this is 20 feet side to side, so I'm just going to click the meters button, put it back to feet, hit save, and then say that's 20 feet. All right, so now it's almost ready. We probably want, to include the main walls as well. So we're going to say, instead of draw walls or the objects, remember the shelves and things like that, we're going to say import walls from this PDF. And now we can see it's a messy PDF, but I think we can work against that. So we're going to say these walls here are drywall. Then there's some doors here. Maybe we can put those as drywall or solid wood door as well. And then there's clearly some windows here that we could use as well. So we're going to say these guys are windows. All right. And looks like this looks pretty good. And we didn't, remember, we did not need to go through all of these layer names here, which are, I don't know which language it is.
So you select some objects and you connect to the layer and it applies the material to the layer.
Exactly.
This
You
is
should
great.
be actually selling this tool because you're explaining it much better than I am.
Why not?
Why
I always
not?
dreamed
Exactly.
to live and to visit Finland. That would be great.
That sounds great.
I'm not kidding.
You're anytime welcome, sir. You're anytime welcome.
Thank you.
And here we can see it actually did a pretty perfect job at drawing the walls here automatically from the PDF, right? So now we are ready to start working against the floor plan. Same thing. We place an AP, we take the Wi-Fi, let's say, and there's different visualizations, data rates, interference, SNR, all of that. And of course, it now takes into account those walls that it took us, all of 5 seconds to define all the walls in this building, of course, and then we can adjust them later using the manual tools if we want. For example, if we thought that, hey, actually that drywall is probably a bit thicker, let's give it some more attenuation. No problem there. We'll just give it some more attenuation, and it will be applied across the entire floor plan. Or the window, actually, that's not a 1 dB window for sure, since it's an external window. So I'm going to say it's a 3 dB window, and boom, it immediately made a difference to the coverage map. So, and things like that, you get the point. So if I wanted to, for example, say, there's a staircase here, so that's brick wall. So no problem, let's just enable the walls. I'm gonna draw the brick wall here, or select the brick wall area and change those drywalls as brick wall. Immediate effect to the, so that's how you make an indoor, like a simple indoor floor plan, including the walls, APs, things like that. I think that's the tool in 45 or 40 minutes or 35 minutes. Like of course, I didn't show nearly all of the features, and maybe one thing I could show is the 4G, 5G planning. And usually 4G, 5G planning is made into this like, oh, it's something like totally crazy different and totally like way complicated and stuff like that. Is it really though? I mean, it's still signals. It's just using a different band, different antennas. And we have modeled, for example, the Celona, 5G, 4G access points in 3 dimensions. And, it's actually pretty similar stuff, just different metrics like RSRP and SINAR.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly configurable here, of course, just slightly different thresholds, of course, because the protocol and PHY are a bit different. But you get the point, right? The difference is, I guess, the coverage is a lot greater, for example, on 3.5 gig, because the transmission powers are greater. The protocol works a little differently, so we can accept much lower values as acceptable signal. But it's also ready like this for 4G, 5G planning, not just Wi-Fi planning.
Oh, I'm burning with questions.
Oh man.
Okay, let's start with 5G.
Mm-hmm.
How's the tool working with planning for 5G in large outdoor areas, say a campus? Because in large outdoor, you have buildings, they are 3-dimensional, they are high, and I mean, you don't see 5G indoors, at least in Europe normally.
Yep.
But you can see that deployed locally in open areas in campuses. So that's one question.
Absolutely. And here I have a 20 megabyte outdoor plan for 4G and 5G, which includes the heights of the buildings and things like that. If we look at the attenuating objects, we can see that I have modeled buildings with height, foliage, like trees and things like that. And it works absolutely similarly. And it, by the way, it took me like 5 or 10 minutes to model all of this part of the city.
Yeah.
And same thing, essentially, you move the AP, you see the coverage. Let me just get rid of the attenuating object so it's clear to see. But it's essentially the same thing. If we wanted to use, I don't know, an omnidirectional antenna, no problem there. And this is at 8 feet. If we wanted to put, let's put back to meters so it's easier to understand. If we wanted to put this at 12 meters height, so it goes above most of the buildings, we absolutely can. It gives, of course, much better coverage for 4G, 5G compared to Wi-Fi. But you can also, of course, do the same stuff with Wi-Fi. But you can see how the buildings, the trees attenuate the signal, the buildings attenuate the signal. If you put the AP inside the high building, and certainly if you put the AP like at a decent 3-meter height in the building, it doesn't go out very much, which is exactly how it would work normally, right? Mm-hmm. But if you put it outside, it will radiate through the streets, and things like that.
Can I put an antenna on top of a building?
Absolutely. Let's put this antenna on top of the building. So put this one to, I don't know, 20 meters height. Make it, well, actually, I'm going to say it's an outdoor, so we make it directional, 20 meters height. And here we can see how it shoots as we align the antenna. We can shoot it above most of the buildings, as you can see. And then we can, of course, if we want to tilt it down, we can. If we want to raise it even higher, like 40 meters on the top of a humongous pole, no problem there. We want to give it some down tilt to give better coverage right underneath. But yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. That's very interesting. And another question, I mean, another topic is 3D modeling of buildings. So can I simulate floor plans in different floor plans in a building interacting with each other? And another thing, can I leverage out of the AutoCAD 3D functionalities in creating 3D buildings? So not using floor plans one by one, but just using in the projects that support it the full 3D rendered model.
That's some great questions right there. So first question was about floor-to-floor modeling and floors interacting with one another. That's coming after 1.0. Those will be left out from 1.0, but they are on the near-term roadmap. And then the second question was about like fully 3D modeling an AutoCAD file, for example. And that's out of our scope, to be honest. And the reason is ease of use for the product. So the second we start manipulating things in full 3D, we risk the product becoming so complicated that it would be like, an IB wave or something like that, where usability is lost in order to gain some accuracy, but how much accuracy you would gain, it's anyone's guess. So that's why so far we're trying to stick with this kind of 3D but in a 2D representation.
Yes,
we will have a little bit of 3D rotation for the buildings and things like that, so you can view things in kind of semi 3D. But that's as far as we're planning to go.
To be honest, you see, the most projects I get to work on, I'm really happy if I get a DWG of the single floor plan. That's it.
Exactly.
So 3D models are yet to come, but sometimes it's really nice, especially if you work on large campuses, for example.
Exactly.
I agree with ease of use, etc. As you said.
I totally agree with you. And, the fact that we don't support like full 3D CAD, it does not mean that maybe someday we will support fully 3D outdoor things, for example, in campus areas and stuff like that.
And still, last question. So what about sharing project information with the customer? Yeah, you mentioned you can generate a report, and I trust you. It's okay. But can I share a scale down, some kind of live version of the project with heat maps, etc.?
Absolutely. And this is still in the works. And this is the reason we're still not calling this 1.0, is that the report is still in the works. And I don't even, since I've been away on vacation, I don't even know what stage this is in, but clearly it's moved forward in a week that I have not used the product, but let's try it. Like I haven't seen this dialogue ever, for example, only in the specifications. So you can create a new report out of this. You can either use a previously made report that you have made before as a template, or you can create a completely new one. Then you can select which bands you want to include for the customer or the report reader to see. For example, if you didn't design for 6E, why would you need that, and stuff like that. And then, so here you will be able to drop in your logo and then create different views for the customer. So, you know, if you want to, and this is what the customer will be able to see if you let them see this. So you can hide anything you want from these views or enable them. And then the customer can actually view the heat maps. He can zoom in, zoom out, select access points by himself, see coverage per access point. It's a fully dynamic kind of read-only view that you control what the customer can see. And then the same thing can also be turned into a Word document and a PDF document. So yeah, you actually saw this for the first time, as did I, because I had not seen it before either. But that's how we're gonna build it, and it takes us a couple of more weeks to have the system fully functional, the whole reporting system. I didn't answer your question very well, but
no, it's okay. Do you think, is it also possible to share a link to a live version of the project, so that the customer can, I don't know,
yes,
switch between heat maps, etc., without the customer having an account? I mean,
yes. So
like a read-only view, something like that.
So that is a read-only view. The whole report is a read-only view. It has like zooming and panning and selecting between the floors and things like that.
Okay, oh, I see.
But you can then also share it with the share button. You can then share it with your colleagues so that they get all the credentials. So for example, Jan, if you want to pass it on to Alessandro, who will continue working on the project, or you know, do an alternative plan or something like that, that can absolutely be done as well. But that's a different thing. So for us, report is kind of a read only, and then sharing is to your colleague, for example.
Okay. So it's not a static report; it's a dynamic report.
Absolutely.
And this is okay. This answers my question, which is okay. A good answer. And then there's the project collaboration inside the team, and you say that I have my credential as Jan, and then I want Alessandro to join in, and I just send him a link. He doesn't have to do a transfer the credential, etc.
No, all Alessandro needs to have is that link from you, or credentials from you, and then he also needs, like, if he wants to edit the RF, you know, plan, the walls, the AP stuff like that, then he needs the paid version. But if you only want him to see and maybe add notes, he doesn't even need to pay.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you. Wow, a lot of things. A lot of stuff. I really understand you really need vacations right now.
Well, I mean, it's easy for me to just talk about it. The hard work has been done by the team. So you know, I've only been on the talking and
I have a quick question
side.
about the software. So what about the processing? So is it done on the browser, or is it done in the cloud on your servers?
Grazie mille for the good question, Dario. So that's a good question. It's a combination, but it's actually very, very browser heavy, the calculation. So like almost all of the calculation today is done on your computer. So the speed of the computer does affect, for example, the calculation of the heat maps and things like that. But again, it does happen on the background. So you can continue working even if you have a little bit of a slower computer. But and we will have some calculation also be done on the back end, but we use the computer for the heat maps, for example. We use the GPU for the map handling and things like that. That's why the map processing and zooming and panning is so fast, because we use the graphics processor for it.
So sorry, I have another quick question. This is not about the technical part, so maybe it's for Ilpo. I told you before, so I'm managing a kind of small network. So we have a large campus with a lot of buildings, but with not so many people. So at the end, we have around 100 access points because the density is very low. So will be different price tiers for different networks? Because in my case, for instance, it's quite difficult to ask for budget for a fully fledged software that is able to manage, I don't know, networks with thousands of access points, which of course they have a different budget than what I have. So as I said before, it's difficult to ask for approval for very expensive software for such a small network. So I don't know if you got my point.
That's a good question. Thanks, Dario. And so far, we honestly haven't fixed the 1.0 price. I mean, now everyone can buy the product at the commercial beta with extremely low price. It's only 390 euros for 6 months of use, which is, what is it, 60 plus euros a month. So it's very, very cheap. We aim to keep it very competitive in the future as well. And I mean, the prices that we talk are the low tier prices, definitely. If there's gonna be some upper tier prices, not sure about those, but what is going to be a differentiator is the 4G and 5G planning. If you want to have that one, it costs additional. So if you're managing a 100 AP Wi-Fi network, you can go with a low price anyway. Even today, you can sign up today and use the special price until we go public with the general availability. Then we will have the final pricing in place, but we don't know about that yet.
And just to add there, we do not charge extra. So let's say, Dario, that you have a project now that you would like to use the tool for, and then you have your next project is like 1.5 years away. That's okay. You can let the license expire, and you can use the tool in read-only mode for that 1 year when it has expired. And then when you have your next project, there's no penalty. You can again pay that 390 or whatever the price will be then. Hopefully the same, but we don't know. We have no idea about pricing and stuff like that, like Ilpo said, like what it's going to be. But right now, it's that's kind of the thinking that you should have, fair licensing terms, reasonable pricing, even for smaller networks. But if we went below 390, we could not make a business out of this, I think, or it would be harder to make a business out of this. That's at least the current thinking, but who knows? You may be right, Dario, that.
No, absolutely. I mean, I was not talking about the 390 for the time. I was just talking about the future in general, if, it's a general topic. Of course, 390 is a good price. I mean, at least for our budget, of course.
We definitely we try to keep it very, very competitive. That is the sort of guiding principle. We want to make it affordable for everyone to get, and design good networks. That is the main driver behind everything that we do. But it's not fixed yet.
Sales guy disclaimer, not fixed yet.
Ok, Alessandro, Marco, avete domande?
No question at the moment. Very, very interesting tool, because in my organization, we use all the planning for the access point, even when we upgraded it on technology, and I notice a lot of difference when we passed it to, for example, to 5 gigahertz or to new products with the recent Wi-Fi standards. So replanning is also, it could be also useful for us. So I'm thinking of it.
Alessandro here, the other one.
The other one. It's common.
No, absolutely amazing for what I can say, because the ease of modeling the locations, premises, walls, etc. Absolutely fantastic. I have no experience with the other tools, but it looks very, very easy, to use. Just to put on the table my case, I don't know, among the models already modeled the access point, if you have also Fortinet. Okay,
Absolutely,
because
absolutely.
the current project is with them, and we have okay, sorry. We have not yet defined who's gonna do this task, and Hamina could be really great opportunity. So that's why in the chat I said I just registered, because I'm very enthusiastic about it, and need to talk with my customer, try to convince that this could be a very good opportunity to have a good wireless plan. So just I'm amazed, I would say. That's it. Beyond the calculations, that are of course required to do the modeling of how wireless waves propagates, all the others, ease of use, that sorry, I forgot the name, sorry, because I don't see the names on the screen, but you see, right?
You see,
yes, okay.
Correct.
That's make the tool very great. So very, very great job.
Thank you so much. We will tell the R&D who have really worked hard on the product. And here's the Fortinet APs as well. And by the way, I enabled channel numbering here on the screen as well, so you can see that as we place APs, it automatically also optimizes the channels to kind of simulate the Fortinet radio management system at the same time as well.
Okay. I will share the link of this meeting with my customer, so he will see that the 831F are modeled and it's ready to be used.
And we are working very closely with Fortinet, including their European team as well as their California team. So anything you need in terms of access points or antennas, if they are missing, we can very quickly add them here as well.
Oh, that's a good news. Yes, thank you very much.
Is it possible to add a custom access point if I upload, for instance, the RF map of the antennas?
Good question, Dario. It is not possible, but we can very quickly add that for you. So just send us the specifications of an exotic access point that we don't not have, and we will add it for you in the actual public product.
Great.
And maybe just a question. So you said that all data are kept in read-only mode now if the license expires. What about export if at a certain moment the client would like to have it with him? Maybe I was off 5 minutes because I didn't realize that my laptop was on battery, so I had to reboot it. So maybe I missed that part, I don't know. But if you could spend some words about it, that would be great.
Absolutely. So let's say your license runs out. Your client will still be able to access the reports of the projects, and you will be able to access the projects in read-only format as well. And you can actually add notes and things like that to the project even when you don't have a license. But you will just the only difference is wall drawing and RF network planning features will be disabled. But otherwise, the projects will stay there. We will not delete them from you unless you tell us to delete them.
Okay, what about sharing project? Again, maybe you said that, I missed that, meaning, yes, because at the moment, Jan said, I'm working on the project and I will send to Alessandro, something like that, so maybe you cover that part. So I guess, yeah, go ahead, please. Yes.
So, sorry to interrupt. That's a good question. So let's say if Alessandro's license runs out, no more license for Alessandro, but you have shared the project with Jan, who has a full license, then Jan will be able to continue working fully on that project, and only you will not be, Alessandro.
So you get paid, Alessandro, and I do your job. That's okay. I work for you. You get paid by the customer and I do all the stuff. I like it.
You must be creative, in all fields.
Oh, I don't have a license. I'm afraid Jan has to do this. Exactly.
Well, great. That was a lot of information, and also a very nice, interesting perspective in the future, because you keep adding things and you're really fast. I mean, my colleagues, perhaps they don't realize, but a few months ago, all this, the public side of Hamina didn't exist at all, and it was just not even an idea. I mean, I didn't know anything about it. Then on Twitter, I saw that Jussi, I knew Jussi was doing something very interesting. And then I saw it's a few months, Jussi, since your first public communication and appearance.
That's true. The R&D team is very talented. I appreciate, Jan, the kind words, and we will pass them on. But yeah, they're very fast at what they do, and that's the benefit you get from starting from scratch and using modern technologies. The development can be very rapid. Yeah, I see. And also you can focus very well on priorities, and this is something I like. Exactly. I understand there's no 100% of features right now on day one, but you need the features that you use the most. You don't need all the bells and whistles. And that's why discussions like this are super important for us, so that we get validation for like, okay, floor to floor is important, we need to make that happen and stuff like that. And we try to have these discussions every day with experts like you guys, so that we keep building the right things from the start. Another issue, but the time runs off, is capacity, airtime calculation, etc. You didn't mention that, but I know that is something that is coming on the pipeline. Yeah, absolutely. Course. Capacity will actually be made even before the floor-to-floor planning. That's the plan right now. But this is the way I design, for example. I mean, this is a step 3 of my designs is usually that. Capacity will be there this year still as well. So absolutely. I see. Great. So really, thank you for your time. It was really exciting, and I think that we will have we'll discuss between ourselves here in Italy for quite a few some time. And thank you for stealing, Jussi, a piece of your vacations. And I will contact you in the future, also for discussing future meetings, etc. If you perhaps I'll ask you contact with David Coleman, which is my idol. I have all his books here, and I use them to beat my friends on the head. You want to learn wireless LAN? Dang, get this book. And no, really, it's one of my idols, and a great professional. And Ilpo, it was really a pleasure to meet you, and I hope we will have a discussion and meetings in person very soon, perhaps in Prague, and who knows.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having us here.
Okay.
Grazie mille. Jan, do I have your email address?
Yes, you have my address, but I'll write you again so you can.
Can you put it on the chat so that I do not forget?
Oh yes,
to
of course.
Introduce you to Dave Coleman.
Let me. Okay, I'll give you my private address, which is.
And my email and Ilpo's email are also on the chat. So anything anybody wants to ask, or even if you just want to chat, let us know, and we are here for you guys.
Okay, great. So
grazie mille. Thank you, Jan, for putting everything together. Thank you, everybody, for joining and spending. We went over time, so much appreciated. I see Marco also joined. Ciao, Marco. Nice to see you as well.
Hi.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's catch up soon, guys.
Great. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just copying this message board, and let me paste it so I don't lose anything. Thank you all.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good day.